Hey guys, what's up? This is just going to be a little mini reading of my birth chart, and I'm only doing this because I want to prove to y'all how accurate astrology can be. It's not simple definitions, it's not generic personality traits, it's very specific archetypes with very specific positive or negative aspects associated with it. Alright, so this is my birth chart, obviously. I was born February 10th, 1987, 8:08 a.m. in El Paso, Texas. Yes, the time and place do matter, but I'm not going to go into that. So if I hover over a planet, say the sun, you'll see these lines in here um, illustrating the aspect between every other planet. So the sun and Mars have blue, a dark blue connecting. So that means the sun is sextiling Mars. But when it's a long blue, see my Mars all the way to Saturn and Uranus, it's a trine, and both are harmonious. Both are positive. But you can see Mars is squaring my moon, so it's a lot of red with that. So it's not necessarily negative, but it's challenging. We all need challenges in life. If everyone had just. There are some people with only blue in their birth charts, and they are often considered lazy and not challenged enough, once again. Anyway, let's just go into my chart right now. Sun sextile Uranus. So the Sun in Aquarius 3, sextiling Uranus in Sagittarius 3, that light blue line, or that short blue line. Alright, so what does it say? With the Sun sextile Uranus, it's important for you to maintain communication with other people at all times, I guess via internet too. You're eager to share your experiences with others and impatient with those who are unwilling to include you in theirs. Your opinions are willful and outspoken, but you can usually justify them in such a way that they're accepted. Your attitudes are relatively uninhibited and not bound by tradition. You find life exciting, and you live every moment of every day. Boredom is something you never have to cope with um, because your mind is so active. In your philosophical view of life, everything has meaning. You take even negative incidents positively so that you're rarely down in the dumps. Your original thinking and strong will are suited to the field of politics, science, or education. You can adapt to any profession that clearly has the objective of improving the masses. You're able to project your ideas and opinions without demanding that others yield to them unquestioningly. But you are impatient with dawdlers who continually put off making decisions. Your development is accelerated, and your intuition is so finely honed that you can instantly evaluate facts and render a judgment. This is exactly what my YouTube, is trying to do. It's just tell you what reality is. Teaching others is probably your best avenue of expression. You can effectively dramatize knowledge to make learning easy for your students. Truth is something you insist on, and you deal harshly with those who distort it in their dealings with you. The world, TV, media, I deal very harshly with straight out lies. And I dramatize the knowledge to make it seem easy to learn Greek, easy to read Nietzsche. I mean, maybe easy to play guitar. It's not just the fingers, like your restless mind and eager disposition contribute significantly to your romantic relationships. You're broad-minded and understanding of human nature. Although you tolerate failure, you don't accept dishonesty from anyone with who you're emotionally involved with. You can easily detach yourself from an insincere, dishonest individual, like everyone on TV, as though you had never had any feelings for that person. Like when Jim Carrey starts talking about guns, sorry, you're not my favorite anymore. You know. Let's see what we got. Saturn conjunct Neptune. So Saturn right here in Sagittarius 3 is really where it is, but they just can't fit the symbol that close to each other. And Neptune right here in 7 degrees. So that's technically 18 degrees away. But in astrology, the 1985, I think, through 93 is the triple conjunction of the Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. So it's a very special time. Um, but anyway, Saturn is discipline, Neptune's religion. With Saturn conjunct Neptune, it's very unlikely that you can be deceived for very long. Take that, Illuminati. You usually protect yourself by being distrustful of situations or people you're unfamiliar with. Even in spiritual or religious matters, you object to accepting dogma unless you can work it out logically. Just like the Groks, just like Jim Brown, Perhaps in your early years you readily accepted those teachings, and later, as you began to question their validity, you felt guilty about them. In general, you have a mature attitude about religious matters and deep insight into your social obligations. And this is a generational thing. Saturn was kind of there for a couple years, you know. This is a long transit for a long generation of people. You are psychic in the most realistic sense, and your experiences guide you in the use of your developing intuition. You're suited to work in an executive capacity, for you can make important decisions with a high probability of success. Your professional affairs benefit from your ability to detect dishonesty or deception. That's why the Grox is favoriting my videos, and Jim Brown is reading my comments live on his sermons. In your pursuit of the facts, you insist that others prove what they say. You fear the unknown and are cautious about making a decision until you can examine all the facts. Your inspiration has practical value, and you express it concretely. Sun sextile Saturn. Sun Aquarius 3, Saturn, Sagittarius 3, instead of Uranus. The sextile from the Sun to Saturn indicates that you have a great depth of understanding and the capacity to help others understand what you've learned. You're modest in assessing your self-worth and are aware of your limitations, but you also know how to make the most of your potentials. Internet. You have a respect for authority and competence. Because you rarely voice your opinion unless asked, your views are considered authoritative and sincere. Usually you prefer to remain in the background and let others with greater needs gain the attention. You don't need anyone's approval for your actions because you generally observe the rules of good behavior. Although you have a driving ambition to succeed, you methodically plan each step towards your goals, quietly and without fanfare. You have a distinct rapport with the professional superiors with your professional superiors because you carefully avoid threatening them with your ambition. You always extract important lessons from your experience. Like, this is a recipe for a philosopher. I'm not being cocky, I'm being very honest. If I read Nietzsche's chart, we would find some of the same things. Okay, Jupiter is squaring Uranus, so this is going to be a bad trait. And see, but we all need challenges or else we have no emotional content. Like, as a songwriter, you don't have any content if you've been happy your whole life. The square from Jupiter to Uranus indicates that Jupiter is kind of your success in life, and Uranus is your revolutionary, rebellious side. I just want to say that. It says you have some powerfully inhibiting conflicts which limit your goals. Perhaps you simply bite off more than you can chew, taking on more burdens than you can satisfactorily handle at one time. Sorry, you're quite able to do whatever you set your mind on, but you strive to do too much at once. You need to establish priorities and exercise self-control so that you can complete one thing at a time. It's easy to see that if you mobilize your efforts toward a single objective, you can get results that would otherwise be difficult or impossible. Because of your enthusiasm, you can achieve success in politics, education, law, religion, or the occult. Crazy. Your biggest problem, though, is your motivation for success. If others see that you're motivated by the desire for recognition and accolades, Capricorns, it could interfere with your objectives. I'm an Aquarius. Anyway, I got Capricorn in me. Venus and Neptune. Venus in Capricorn makes me cold and, very calculating when I get in relationships with anyone. And Neptune makes me very calculated with my religion. Neptune is religion, and Venus is how you relate to people. So I want those there. For me. Uranus square Ascendant. Ascendant is this AC right here. It's literally the Earth. 8 in the morning, the sun is rising. Pretend this is the ground. So I seem like a Pisces. Ascendant's how you come across in your identity. But the sun sign is who you actually are in your heart. So Uranus square Ascendant's bad. Shows that you're a rebel at heart. Not bad, just challenging. When your independence is denied even momentarily, you're defiantly abusive. You feel you have the right to do anything and you want without adhering to any rules or regulations. Thank you, YouTube. And doing screw tapes and then talking about God in the next video. Whatever, it's how I feel. In general, you're irresponsible and you find it difficulty to learn anything from your experiences. You are at odds with the rest of your family when you were growing up, and you'll always strike others as being different from the average person. But you do have a mind of your own and insist on finding for yourself the best way to capitalize on your wealth of ideas. Duh. Generally indifferent to money, We all need it. You prefer to devote your efforts to enterprises that are characterized by such cliches as relevant and meaningful. Hello. What you do is far more important than what you're paid for doing it. Your modernity is repelled by tradition, and yet you conform to another kind of tradition that is consistent with the values of your generation. You refuse to stay confined in a career that does not give you some degree of freedom and mobility. 9 to 5 routine would be positively crushing to your individuality. I was telling you I had the night job. The only reason you want an education is so you can make a better contribution to society, but you must learn to be wary of people who will take advantage of you and deprive you of even basic necessities. Giving's noble, but in this case, poverty is stupid. You're not likely to seek a binding partnership unless it's agreement rather than by contract. You remember rebelling against the close confinement of your youth, and you have no intention of repeating that experience. You're disturbed by social injustice and hope that someday you can contribute substantially to eliminating those injustices. You need to know that your life's work is serving a wide human need. Closely identified with youth in society, you try to help young people exploit their creative potentials. All because Uranus is squaring my ascendant. That's that. That's what that means. Moon trine Mercury. Moon trine Mercury in Pisces. So it's good. Indicates that you're willing to accept all your experiences as ways to enrich your consciousness. You evaluate your reactions to people, events, and situations quickly. Since you derive more significance from your response to stimuli than most people do, you accumulate a vast storehouse of information. Astrology is real, guys. This forms the basis for your creative development and expression. Your emotions are well integrated with your intellect. Moon is emotions, Mercury's intellect, trine is good. You are warmly sympathetic toward everyone and show a high degree of comprehension in your dealings with people. You have an amazingly retentive memory, and your ability to recall past incidents is remarkable. Quoting Nietzsche throughout college. However, you don't allow the past to distort your reactions to current events. Instead, you make good use of the lessons you've learned from the past. You show great eagerness to make your life useful and expressive. You search for new ways to exploit your talents and usually find them with YouTube. Now Mercury is trining Pluto in Scorpio. So Scorpio is your subconscious, your dark side, and it's working well with my communication. It indicates your ability to concentrate, a fascination for the unknown, creativity, and depth of understanding. Fascination for the unknown. You'll always read that in my birth chart. Sun in the 12th house. Jupiter, Mercury, Ascendant in Pisces, the hidden sign. The last sign likes the hidden stuff. These intellectual assets merely need to be developed realistically and used effectively. Your understanding of cause and effect will give you an advantage others lack when you apply your talents to the profession you choose. Your wealth of creative ideas is some guarantee of success if you exploit it. Crime detection, medicine, research and development, engineering, analysis, chemistry, pathology, and surgery are some of the occupations that are suitable to your talents. Your financial management skills are excellent. If I cared about it, like my last reading. You enjoy the challenge of competition and can take on a heavy burden of responsibility without tiring because you become absorbed by whatever interests you. As y'all know, you always choose a subject that requires complete participation. Listen to me, it's not background music. As a writer, you might write technical papers or mystery stories. Your capabilities are so wide-ranging that you can discuss corporate finances as easily as the mysteries of the occult. Just like Tupac, he could talk about clubbing and black oppression in the same song and make it make sense. And that's life. Mars trine Uranus. It shows that you act with originality and creative enthusiasm. There's a feeling of drama in the way you express yourself. Ding, ding, ding. Although you're impatient, it's only because you're always excited about what interests you. You demand freedom in order to exploit your creative potentials and to indulge yourself when you choose. Your energy is boundless and you have innumerable projects to keep you busy. You feel sorry for people trapped in limiting circumstances because you realize how these can destroy creative development. How you going to work? How you going to be yourself if you're a slave? That's the beast system, is balancing it out even though you can't. You're best suited for occupations that give you mobility and self-determination. 9 to 5 seems just too routine and full of restrictions. You should become involved in group activities where your leadership qualities can be used to your best advantage. Blah, blah, blah. Almost done, y'all. With relate a moon opposed Venus shows that you're challenged by other people no matter what you try to do. Ugh. They especially try to take issue with you when you want to show appreciation for favors they've done. You're generous in praising those you deal with, but somehow you try too hard to convince them of your sincerity. In your desire to be loved, you don't want to risk anyone's displeasure. You really want to cooperate with others, but they don't react as though you do. The people you love most misunderstand you, and so you're often at odds with them. Others tend to be defensive and suspicious of you when you show interest in them because you give them the impression that you want something from them. Try not to expect too much from those you're attracted to. It'd be beneficial for you to get involved in enterprises or social endeavors with the people you're fond of. Learn to relate with them on an intellectual level. Last one, guys. Astrology is real. Moon opposed Neptune. You're extremely talented and creative because you respond so deeply to stimuli. That word again. You may have difficulty in separating truth from fiction. My whole life, it was like, oh, I believe in God, so I'll be real Jewish. Oh, who's Nietzsche? So he's right only. Oh, who's the Grok? So he's right only. Oh, Jim Brown. Everyone's right in their own way. They just don't know it themselves that they were touching on something that was the opposite of what they were actually saying. Literally. Anyway. The illusions you create about yourself and others make your relationships disorderly or confused. You become deeply involved with and entrapped by the conditions of your environment. You closely identify with other people, places, and things in the process, sometimes lose your own identity. Am I a DJ? Am I a philosopher? Am I a fucking mystic, Christian? An escapist? You're trying to avoid finding a solution to your own emotional insecurity and instability. Although you're creative and have much artistic appreciation, you may find it difficult to express this in a useful way. Others sometimes use you as a means for their own self expression, which makes you feel abused. You should develop your talents through training. In this way, you can define your objectives without relying on people who may not have your interests at heart. It's important not to compare yourself with others. You need self confidence to assure yourself that you can succeed without outside help. People will climb over you if you allow them to. In your professional skills, you underestimate your potentials and tend to assume that others are more qualified. Because you're extremely sensitive and exquisitely aware of other people's problems, you could be a fine doctor, analyst, counselor, or researcher. You work best alone and can accomplish a great deal when not distracted by others who may be parasites. Ugh.